Just because there's a disaster or a pandemic doesn't mean you can't get things done. Hey, this is Justin Hitt. I'm parked across the street from a school on a Tuesday while my kid goes to a dental appointment, and the school is empty. There's nobody there. COVID-19 has shut it down and people are working virtually. Well, my point is, why aren't they in the school doing repairs? Why aren't they in the school doing necessary maintenance? Workers can social distance just as well as anybody else. And when there's work to get done, why not keep people working? I have some idle time while the kid's getting his braces tightened up. I'm doing a podcast. If you get stuck in your home during a storm or a hurricane season, why not tidy up your home and clean things up? But no, most of America is going to sit around and bitch and complain. They're going to bitch and complain and constantly worry so that they are blind to other things or opportunities that are right in front of them. This is very important. Often your home, you're going to spend about a third of your day in the home. Now, most of the day you're going to spend sleeping. If you work in your home, you're going to spend half of your day in the home. But ultimately, your focus needs to be on what is that next thing that we can do. So we want to maintain maintenance logs. We want to maintain maintenance schedules. We want to maintain our bookkeeping. We want to have those idle times that would be otherwise wasted. Rather than sitting in front of a television, you're able to sit down and just see what needs to be done next. Now, this doesn't mean you're not going to relax and you're not going to have some free time and you're not going to get a break from whatever you're doing the rest of the day. But understand this. If you have to get a break from what you regularly do each day, then what you're regularly doing each day is not very valuable, is not very aligned with what you want in the long term, is not really driving towards the outcomes that you desire. And in fact, you might be living someone else's dream. So when you have time off, when you have a disruption, when you have a break, do you have something to fill that gap that fulfills your desires, that drives forward the outcomes that you wish to have? Now, it's very easy. Again, we talk about the schedule advisory. The schedule advisory outlines those activities that come into the future so that you can clearly, in one glance, see what's coming down the line. Now, for some people, that's a calendar that's printed out in an itinerary format. Other people use a Word document. Some people use the back of a notebook. And they write down top of mind items, and then they take the top of mind items and put them on a schedule. Now, the top of mind items list is a great way to do a brain dump. If you sat down one winter's evening and you made a list of all the things that need to be done and very quickly put an A, B, and C to indicate the next 3 things that needed to be taken care of in their order of priority, and you went to bed and woke up and had no power and had no ability to move because there's a storm and you're stuck in your house, you can simply go down your list and grab something off that list that can be done. See, it's about what can you do. See, COVID-19 locked everybody in their homes. They really should have sat down and researched their government, to research their medical and health condition, to research their family outcomes and desires, and research the things that would set them up so that when the economy kickstarts again, and so when people can go outside and go back to work again, and when they finish up all this mandatory lockdown garbage, you would be able to be ahead of the game. How many new languages have you learned? How many new things how many books have you read? How many things have you done other than just catch up with shows? Now, don't get me wrong. I watched the whole 2 seasons of Utopia, the UK version. I'm watching Farscape right now. There are times where you just sit down and spend an hour watching a show. However, when obstacles are in your way, what is your habit? Is your habit to complain? Is your habit to worry? Is your habit to kind of stop? See, that's an end. We don't want ends. We want new beginnings. We want to be able to stop, reflect, move forward. Seasonal gardening is a great way to get aligned with the world around you, to get connected with nature. It also helps you have something exciting to do. If it's getting cold outside and the leaves are falling, you have an opportunity to start a composting system. If you have a season ending, you have an opportunity to start a new bed or to start a new crop. There's always a new beginning. There's always a renewal. And that's where in life you have a different perspective. You have a different growth. Now, we talked about the top of mind list. We talked about the schedule advisory. What about a call log? If you have a call log of all the people you've interacted with, all the people you need to interact with, and you have some downtime, you can pick up the phone and call somebody and say, hey, look, I talked with you last week about in my situation, I got a shed that needs to be moved. I text the guy about moving the shed. After calling his phone, he basically wanted a text. I text him. I got a call back. I didn't get anything on the schedule. It's on my callback log. I pull it out. I call him up again because I have 15 minutes of idle time. I call him up and I say, hey, look, I need to get this shed moved. Can I get on your calendar? Meeting with a CPA. See, all this is in the callback log, not a to-do list, but a callback log. When people call me, I have them leave a message, and then I will call them back. They go on the callback log. And that way I can better organize my time. I can use idle time to call. Now, that doesn't guarantee that the time I have available is the time that they're available to pick up the phone. So we use other communications techniques, such as leaving a useful message. I don't know how many messages I get. I don't even count because it just irritates me. But how many messages I get that there's not enough information there to get involved. While me and the kid were sitting here, I finished scheduling Thanksgiving activities. I was able to catch up on a few things while he's reading a book. I'm able to catch up on a few things. And then I started putting this podcast together. So I have a program about increasing your personal productivity. But anything that I've described here can actually be done as a family. You can sit down with your family and say, hey, what would we like to do in the next year? What would we like to do in the next 2 years, next 3 years? And plan those things out. You also want to have board games and other types of non-power necessary, group activities. Because it is a blessing to have a little bit of free time. And even if it's just 15 minutes with the kids playing Uno or playing a board game, it is an opportunity to renew and refresh your relationships, to talk, listen to each other. Maybe you take a walk around the block. But it hurts my feelings, not as much as it would matter, but to basically see a beautiful school building with no students in it and no service trucks outside. And it's just kind of sitting there. And then my tax dollars are paying for that. And it's just sitting there. And I can see there are actually the second story window has plastic over the window because it looked like it broke out or something. See, you could take one guy and send his ass up there to go fix the damn window. And then you got something done. See, what's the worst thing that can happen? The worst thing that can happen is that after the pandemic, that after a shutdown or a snow or a unexpected hurricane or event, after all that happens, the work's just piled up. See, that's why people are so busy today. They're not busy because there's a lot of work. There's just a lot of delayed maintenance. There's a lot of deferred activities. There's a lot of it's just stuff piling up, and people just say, well, I'm just going to watch a television show because it's a lot of stuff to do. You get overwhelmed. Again, we use planning tools. We use communications, and we develop our busy times so that they're productive times. Because if you're going to be busy, you might as well get something valuable accomplished. So what are the things that I'm working on right now? Well, I'm working on getting the gardens out. I have some excavation work to finish up, some grass to get out. There's like a whole big giant list. I've got some newsletter websites that are migrating, the kids in school virtually. This is one of the powerful things about this is that when all the pandemic stuff started, I actually had time to think about what the kid's experience would be with school, and was able to adjust and get him on an online private school so that he's able to still get an education, but he's able to do it without any disruptions. And now he spends 4 to 6 hours a day at school, at home, and then he's able to do the things that he wants to do, video games and such. I really wish he cleaned his room more, but we're working on those habits. But ultimately, folks, can your downtimes be an up in your lifestyle? Can be an up in your relationship building? Can be an up in your growth? Yes, they can, and it's really your choice. It really is a little bit of planning up front. So, for example, if you put a couple books in a Tupperware thing behind the seat of a car, or play activities for the kids, or a notepad and some paper in your backpack, you can be ready for the downtimes. Laptop won't boot up. Grab a notepad, write an outline for that paper you were going to write. A book to read that entertains, a book to read that educates, a book to read that informs. All great and wonderful opportunities. Every minute of your day. In fact, many of you right now, you might be listening to this podcast in your downtime, which is an excellent use of that downtime to re-stimulate and grow your mind and your abilities. And an exciting thing too is now when you add stacking. So we talked about time management and time productivity tools, and there are many more tools that you can use, but those are the very simple ones. But we can also talk about that stacking of activity. You could be listening to this podcast while you're working out. You only have 20 minutes to work out. Take the 20 minutes to work out and listen to a podcast. That you're educating yourself while you're rebuilding and growing your health. Learn a little bit about health and then apply it in the next day. It's really a new habit of renewal, a new habit of growth, a new habit of becoming more each day so that you have this bounty to enjoy. You have this prosperity in your homestead. I'm Justin Hitt with Prosperity Homestead. If you have questions, you can visit www.prosperityhomestead.org, where you can ask those questions and we'll get back with you there. I make lists of questions and then I answer them in the podcast. These are very simple systems that we can teach you. And it seems like you're going to be constantly busy. But again, it is a busy that you enjoy and you look forward to, and not something that you've got to escape. It's a home that you look forward to, and your family grows up with experiences rather than abandonment. I put all this money into a house and I'm not there all day. That's what we do here at Prosperity Homestead. We help affluent homeowners and entrepreneurs get more from their small farm, homestead, or estate. Again, questions at www.prosperityhomestead.org. We've got a lot of other content as well. And this has really been about getting the most from downtimes, transforming your downtimes into uptimes and greater outcomes and returns. Thanks for listening.